Okay, so let's just cut the fluff. Photographers are chasing virality like it's the bloody holy grail. TikTok reels blowing up, Instagram views climbing, and people are thinking that one precious viral video means they've made it. But let's be honest, likes don't usually pay your rent. I'm going to say usually because I'm going to get onto that, but they don't pay your tax bill. Barclays won't accept 1 million TikTok views as proof you're good for a mortgage. So today I'm digging into it, why photographers are obsessed with going viral, what's actually good about it, what's destroying businesses, and how you can use trend following smartly without burning out or forgetting your actual job, which is serving clients, being a photographer. This is essentially for those of you who are newer to photography or struggling with your marketing here in the UK, because while you're lip syncing to a trending audio, there is a £1.9 billion photography industry waiting for you to step up and take your share. This is a specially requested episode, which was requested via a messenger I received via my Facebook group, the Loud Lens with Khandie Facebook group on Facebook. That was a lot of Facebook. Take a shot every time I say that. I love it when you can join that group. You can recommend and we can discuss episodes literally with me. I'm in there all the time. So let's start with why photographers chase virality. It's pretty obvious that everyone's obsessed with virality. I mean, it is. It's some sort of validation. You post something, it blows up. Strangers are in your comments telling you you're a genius, you're amazing. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. I love you. Everything about you is amazing. Right? And you feel like you've skipped the hard bit of building a business. Believe me, I went semi-viral a few times and it's seductive. Those numbers are sexy. Instagram currently has approximately 33 million UK users, nearly half the bloody population, with some people having multiple accounts. TikTok's huge though, especially under the 35 age bracket. Globally, about 70% of photographers say social media have boosted their or has boosted their revenue, and 60% say bookings went up by as much as 60% or more. But I want to be very clear, virality isn't the same as value. You can have 200,000 followers on TikTok, but still not book a damn wedding. And most clients, the Daves, the Susans, the Joel, or whoever, don't care how many followers you got. They care you're going to show up, deliver their gallery, and not slag them off online for clout. Because, yes, we're going to get onto that horror story as well. So, why virality is nice and shiny? Because who doesn't want to break the internet? And if you think about the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift phenomenon, where they literally crashed the internet for a while, or even Kim Kardashian, they crashed it. It's great. We all chase that, right? It's a sugar rush, but it's a sugar rush. That's it. Without a proper business strategy, you might as well be giving Meta free content because you're starving your bank account. Now, there are positives variety. I want to get them out of the way because I think it's really easy to jump on all the negative and make an episode like that. But I think it's really important as somebody who runs a podcast to talk to you about the perks. So there's multiple revenue streams. Now, there's TikTok Creator Fund. Instagram has bonuses stuff, but I don't think they've reached the UK yet. But you can get sponsorships, obviously. YouTube AdSense, there's obviously regular sponsorships, collabs, selling presets. In the UK, the creator economy has exploded. Adobe says, I think it was Adobe, I need to check it out, of 8 million more creators have been created since 2020. So in the last 5 years, there are 8 more million people. Influencers earn an average of £117 per hour, often more than traditional photo gigs. That is very lucrative. But when I say influencers, on average, I don't really know how that came about, because if you think about it, there are many people making no money at all. All right. So I don't want to chuck that down your throat and think this is it. But I will say, look at someone like Peter McKinnon, who I love. I love Peter McKinnon. He really pivoted his career. He's on YouTube. He's on everything, but he's particularly on YouTube is where I found him. He turned his YouTube virality into an empire. Bags, coffee, preset sponsorship. I think he even ended up on the Canadian Money at one point, or is he still on there? He made massive studios. He got to photograph Kiefer Sutherland. Like this guy, he gets sent overseas. I mean, I wish I could just have 1/10, but we're going to keep slugging. There's also Jessica Cabasi, someone who I've loved for a very long time. She went viral with her sort of photographer model challenges that she did. And what it did, it kind of pivoted away from looking for client work, and instead people went after her. They wanted her to be it. She became the product. I mean, there are many photographers. I mean, obviously they're overseas. I'm a misser. They're close. So if we think closer to home, there are plenty of UK photographers who sell workshops and editing packs after their content pops off, because it's smart business. You see the traction and you use it to sell stuff. Yeah. So virality can work. It's visibility and it's opportunity, but it only sticks if you've built the foundation first. Virality accelerates, but it doesn't replace. And I think that's something we really need to understand. Like, sometimes a picture will go crazy on the internet, like absolutely nuts. Like, people will be loving it, loving it. And the photographer's next picture doesn't get as much likes because it has to hit at a certain time. It has to, like, people have to, it has to resonate with them at that time, you know. And then equally, a picture can hit, and this person's career takes off. It is so hard to sometimes remember that for every one photographer that has its meteoric rise and shoots for the moon and ends up even further in the solar system, um, there are many of us who can barely get out of our own Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so I want to talk now about the darker side because I think it's really important and it is messy. So, so often I find that people forget that they started this whole career as a business. Now, there is a business of being an influencer, there is. And there's nothing wrong being a photographer who's an influencer. Like, you share hacks for people, you share content for that. But if you're a photographer with clients, remember that likes don't equal invoices. Followers do not equal bookings. And I've seen UK photographers with a 6-figure plus following in Facebook groups talking about how they can't get bookings or they're struggling with bookings. And in fact, there was one, I have to be, I'm going to underestimate, yeah, so I don't want to out them because it's a private Facebook group. Got just under 300,000 followers on Facebook, cannot book a portrait client. And there's a lot to do with that, is because they're posting content purely to go viral, clickbait content. It doesn't appeal to a client. But the problem is with Instagram not paying, and if someone doesn't pick that up on TikTok, because TikTok will pay us, and YouTube doesn't pick it up, if it doesn't hit there, you're not going to earn as much money. So I feel like what this ends up doing is that people start chasing this variety because it's a massive dopamine hit, that feel good chemical. And what happens is you start posting daily and you follow every trend, and then you're stressing over numbers and you're looking at analytics. And then slowly but surely, if not rapidly, you become exhausted, but also you end up burnout. And the worst one is you're invisible because your content starts to look like everyone else because you're jumping on every trend. You've lost your identity and you've sacrificed it for a trending soundbite or a dance thing or something. You have forgotten that everything you do must in some way benefit you as a business. Okay, it's fun to have some fun lip syncing ones, but why not make it about photography in some way? Turn it back. If you want to just dance around and have some fun with it, create an account that is not related to your business page. Okay, because what can happen is you start alienating clients. I have seen photographers, and I've listened to them because I love them, who have turned client stories into viral content, sometimes mocking bridezillas, slagging off families. Sure, the internet laughs, but when real couples in your area see it, sometimes they're gonna walk away. There was one wedding photographer, I think it was on Reddit I read this, who went viral, slagging off essentially a couple's decor on their wedding. They got loads of bookings. They thought, no. They got loads of followers, but the bookings did not come in. So while their followership rose, the bookings kind of dwindled. And the reason is because they falsely thought all this attention would bring them bookings, and it didn't. The reason is there's this thing, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called hate follow and hate like. So you don't like something, but you follow it because you like watching the disaster that is them, right? There are people who are on social media who are disastrous human beings. They're insulting, they're rude. There's one lady that goes around and like literally shouts at waiters and serving staff and thinks it's hilarious. And people follow them because they enjoy watching this sort of car crash social media happen. That doesn't mean people want to work with her. No brands want to align with her, you know? And it's the same with people. Like, they'll listen to someone slating someone because they find it funny. They might like it because they think it's funny, but they're not going to book that person because that person doesn't make them feel safe to be around. Because what happens? Oh, I book her, but what happens if she doesn't like my decor? Is she going to do, am I going to be slated like this? No, she doesn't identify who the couple is, but I would imagine that couples knows that it was her, that know it's theirs as well. So for me, reputation reputation i- and respect don't necessarily go hand in hand. Okay, ideally as a business you want to have a respectful reputation, but sometimes you can build a reputation that is completely counterproductive. You could blow it for controversy, but that fame or infamy, shall we say, doesn't equal trust. And without trust, you don't get clients. Okay. Clients want to buy from people, but buy from people they trust. So let me talk about this. The industry itself is shifting. IBIS World said the UK photography revenue dropped to 1.8 billion pounds. Why? I'm going to suggest largely, as they did, it was about smartphones. They account for now approximately 94% of all photos taken, which means it's harder than ever to go compete. We see this with the rise of the content creator. Many people are using content creators at their wedding instead of getting a videographer in. Okay. And people are then like, scrambling around because the industry they work in is changing. It is changing. And you know what? People are now like, rather than try and get the images that sell and do it, they're thinking, if I just chase the likes, I'm going to get the clients. I'm going to get a chunk of this industry. And what you're actually doing is just doubling the stress without actually doubling the pay. And you are also eating into your time. So let's look at trend watching as a business tool, because I talked a lot about trends, but I actually want to talk to you about why it's so good to look at trends, because following a trend isn't necessarily bad, but how do we do it? So let's switch gears, because I don't want you to think I'm anti social media. I have a social media analyst background, but I'm not anti social media. Trend watching is bloody important to a business, but it has to be done with a strategy. I spoke many times on here and on my YouTube. If you haven't by now, by the way, by now, now's a good time to follow this Spotify, this wherever you're listening to it, Amazon, where else do I put this? Apple, wherever it is, click subscribe because it's full of this. And if you're on YouTube, it's click subscribe because I put this and other videos on my YouTube, okay? And I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. But anyway, I speak a lot about strategy, and people go, "Oh, what about strategy?" Everyone wants to know what content. Oh, I need to create content. Okay, but creating content is great, but why are you creating that content? Oh, it's because I want people to follow me. Okay, but what specifically do you want them to follow you about? Is it because you want to follow them for your wedding photography because you need to get more weddings in winter? Or do you need to get more weddings because you've moved to a new area? Do you see what I mean? The strategy is, how do you get that? Not what do you do to get that, if that makes sense. So we need to focus more on strategy than we do perhaps the content itself, because people seem to spend more time creating the video, but without a real clear direction for their business. Think about it this way. Virality is purely accidental for the most part, okay? Trend watching is incredibly intentional. It's using what people are searching for, what they're watching, and what they're talking about, and weaving yourself into that. It's like putting your business into it. So tools you should be using, and I use these, is Google Trends. This shows you what people are searching for. It can be anywhere in the world. Obviously, I specify the UK. You can literally type in wedding photography, headshots London, and see what's hot, what people are talking about. It searches spike. So what it does is it looks for spikes in what people are doing, okay? So say, for example, if brand photography spiked in your area, maybe it's time to post about a service if it's something you do. There's also one called, is it Ask the Public or Ask the Audience, where see what people are searching for at that point. It gives you an idea, one, what to create content on, but perhaps maybe it'll give you an idea for a blog. Maybe it'll give an answer for like this, a podcast, or maybe it'll give you an answer on something to put on Reels. So I will say now that I have Google Trends set up for certain chats about photography now, so I can create podcast episodes about it, because there's no point me like just willy-nilly pulling things out of the air. I mean, obviously I've got my own ideas, but it's nice to see what's trending so I get an idea, because I want this podcast to be successful. I need to talk about what you guys are talking about, which is why I encourage you in my Facebook group, to the Facebook group which is called The Loud Lens with Khandie, where you can suggest episode ideas for me to create one around you. This is what I'm doing now, because I want you to want to listen to this. So it makes sense to follow trends. Clients want to sort of see what they're already looking for, if that makes sense. Okay. You can also use YouTube trends and look at YouTube shorts. The algorithm sort of tells you what you're looking for, but it also looks at what's trending now. You can literally look for that. Okay. So YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. If you know what videos are blowing up in photography, you can create your content with that spin and funnel it back to your business. Okay. One of the big things, I mean, it's gone now, probably now, but I mean, I've always been doing it, is the blurry wedding photo. Okay. So everyone jumped on this bandwagon and it was like this nostalgic feel. And I've always done it. So I did a video really quickly how I did it with my settings. Okay. It didn't go massively viral, but it went pretty popular. But I was like, that's for That's for photographers because I also want to educate photographers. One of my business strategies is that I want to provide free education. But then for my clients, I showed them, I did a video on like, hey, how to ask your photographer to get this? What's involved? I give them an educational one. And now my couples will say, hey, Khandie, can you do a blurry shot? I don't put it so much in my portfolio now, but I know I can do it. And it's because it went viral for people to have this as their wedding shot. And I like that. I'm not going to say no. It's like when you're on TikTok. TikTok have a creative center, a free tool that shows trending sounds, hashtags, and searches. And you might notice sometimes when you put the little, you go onto TikTok and you click the spyglass, whatever you want it, the magnifying glass, it will have current trends. That's what's trending right now. Okay. So you don't have to jump on them all, but knowing what buzzing lets you decide, does it fit with your brand? Does it fit with what you're aiming for? Can I make it fit my brand? Can I make it fit what I'm hoping to strategize for? It's the same with Pinterest. I think Pinterest is one of the most overlooked things to look at. Okay, overlooked things to look at. Is that correct English? Have I said that right? It is still a hit for weddings. Couples will literally make mood boards upon mood boards, right? I mean, people, whenever they're doing the marketing, will do it. I did it when I was trying to do a rebrand for me. I was like, right, I like this look. And I started to get ideas. I have a massive Pinterest board. You can go find it. Go look at it. It's Khandie Photography. There's loads of different ideas on there. Okay. It really helps you know about what color schemes are trending, what everything, like anything. You could put anything in and you'll see it will start showing you what's popular and it will show you how many times something's pinned and it's just wonderful. But why does it matter? Trend following keeps you relevant. Clients don't always know the right keywords, but if you show up in the area they're already searching, you're in front of the demand instead of trying to shout from the back. Does that make sense? But you can't blindly chase. You need to filter it. So you do need to ask yourself these things. I mean, that's kind of what I ask myself. I mean, kind of. I wouldn't say I'm like an absolute, like, I do it every time. I'm such an 8th grade student on this. Does this trend fit my brand or the message I'm trying to convey? Does it attract clients or just photographers? For me, if I'm planning on doing something about my book is aimed at photographers. When I was doing marketing for my book, I was like, because now I've got 2 out available on Amazon. Do I put it I wanted to promote my new book. Can I make this trend fit my new book promotion or not? When I was doing headshots for clients, I'm not going to promote it the same way I do photographers. I was offering a solution to my clients, so you can see if you go on my reels on my Instagram, you can see ones that are for photographers and which ones are for clients. Okay. Same on my YouTube shorts, which ones are for clients and which ones are photographers. I tend to use my YouTube purely, if I'm honest, to target photographers, right? Because I want photographers to follow me. I want photographers to get education from me. I want photographers to engage with me because I'm open to learning from them as well. My Instagram is a kind of a mix between photographers and clients. My stories are mostly client focused. And my main grid is client focused, but my reels is often a mix between photographers and clients, but each one is chosen deliberately. Each trend is chosen deliberately. And LinkedIn is very much engaging with businesses and clients. I'm not there necessarily to talk to other photographers too much. I want people to come to me for the information. Okay. Every now and then I do put it in just to test the theory. But for example, if Google Trends shows that Halloween photo shoots are spiking, you could post a behind the scenes of your of your Halloween minis or a spooky shoot you've done. That's trend riding with purpose. But if you're a corporate headshot photographer, lip syncing to a Dua Lipa song probably isn't going to chase views. It's probably a bit pointless. However, if you were lip syncing, say, while you were on the set of your headshot sessions with a client who was keen or your assistant, at least then there's a spin to it. Trend following is about being smart, not desperate. It's marketing, not mimicking, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think that's the right word, but it's not like, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I think I'm doing this right. So how do you balance it all? Social media is a tool, an essential tool, I believe. I think the largest part of any part of your business should be the marketing, because if you don't market yourself, you can't get the business in. And that might be reconnecting with previous clients, which is why I always say people have a newsletter and keep them like warm. Okay. Because it's harder to get a cold. Do you understand the term between warm and leads and cold leads? So a warm lead is someone you've already done business with or someone who's already had connection with you in some way. And a cold lead is someone who's never met you. You have to put a lot more effort in to turn a cold lead into someone who's going to work with you, whereas someone who's already worked with you or has contact with you to work with you. Do you know what I mean? So social media is really good. You still want to connect with the people who've already worked with you, but also every now and then reach out to ones who haven't, like a reintroduction video. People already know this about you. But sometimes it's nice to do, hey, if you've just followed me, I'm Khandie, I'm this, and this, right? Okay. But so anyway, let's go back on this. Social media is a tool, it's about discovery. It's so much more, but you need a funnel. Viral and trending content pulls them in, but then you need to have stuff that keeps them there to get them to know you, to convince them to book with you. So that's your testimonials, your galleries, the behind the scenes of you working. Because remember, over 56% of UK users buy through social media platforms, but only 28% of Gen Z, is that how we say it now? Not Gen Z. And 18% of millennials trust influencer ads. People are skeptical. Okay. It's because I don't know if you've been on TikTok lately, but it's entirely just people go, this will change your life. Oh my God, this is amazing. This has changed my life, transformed me. Like, it's BS. We know it is. No scrubbing brush is going to change your life. Although I did buy one and, it didn't change my life, but it made it a lot easier to clean the house. Uh, but, we're used to being, hoodwinked into buying something. So you have to build trust. Variety might grab the attention, but you need to build trust. And that's by targeting your clients away from the virality side. So this is why you choose your own platforms, website, main list, using your SEO. Don't build your house on rented land. TikTok very nearly disappeared for the American market completely, okay? But your email list won't. Your website won't. And don't forget, strong photography gets 94% more views online. So your content doesn't need to be viral, but it does need to be consistently good. Does that make sense? I hope this does. I hope we're all here. By the way, if you want to have a cup of tea, I've got a cup of tea next to me. This is a good time to have a good slurp. Mm. Oh, decaf tea does not hit the same. I'm still caffeine free. I say this every episode, but I feel like you're like my check-ins. So going viral feels brilliant. That dopamine hit is incredible. It really does. But virality is not the same as business. It's the cherry, not the cake. Like I said, the photography industry, particularly in the UK, is worth 1.8, 1.9 billion pounds. It's a lot. Half a billion of that is in weddings alone. That's real sustainable money. That's clients who will pay invoices, not just double tap on a reel. So yes, follow trends, be smart, use Google Trends, YouTube, TikTok Creative Center, all of it. But don't forget the point. You're a business. You chose to be a business, and a business has to make money. Okay. Your clients don't care how many views you've got. They care if you deliver what you promised. They care if the images are amazing, and they care about trust. So for God's sake, please stop obsessing over the algorithm. And I'm going to tell you something now. I am sick to death as people telling me, I'll help you build the algorithm. Stop it. Do you know what? Oh, scratch my mic there. Everybody has this idea that they can beat the algorithm. But the whole point is the algorithm is constantly evolving and changing. And I think it's utter BS when people say this. All right. I've spoken about this a few times. I'm going to say this again. There was a woman who was a coach who told everyone, look at this amazing stat I had. My client reached 40,000 accounts this month with help with me doing her content or me, whatever it was. Right. Now, I have a social media analyst background, and everything about that post alarmed me. One, this woman was doing it and clearly didn't understand how stats work. 40,000 people might have viewed that content, but only 80, I think it was 87, 85 people clicked like on it. And of those, less than that wrote a comment, which in my eye means you spammed at least 39,900 plus people. Because out of that, less than 1% engaged with it. That's shocking. I don't see how you're proud about that, because that is wasted effort and targeting the wrong people. All right. Maybe I could go on this. I've done a couple of episodes on this kind of thing, but have a listen back. There's a few of them. Maybe it'll come up in the recommended ones if the algorithm's right with this. Oh, but like I said, you are a business. So stop obsessing and start obsessing over your client experience, the referrals, and building your business, because that's where the money is. That's where longevity is. Virality doesn't pay your rent. Clients will. Okay, this has been the loud lens. I know I've waffled on. I've tried to slow down my speech because a lot of you were asking about it. I hope this works. Maybe Have you ever traced trends? Have you gone viral? I'd love to know if you've gone viral. Did it bring bookings or just trolls and burnout? Because trolls are a big thing on the internet. I want you to DM me, tag me, send me your horror stories. Maybe that would be a good one in business. I might feature them in a future episode with your consent. If you're listening in the UK and struggling with marketing, here's your reminder. Virality is optional, but business is non-negotiable. Right, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to finish this cup of tea and I'll see you soon. Well, you'll hear from me soon. Or unless you like follow me on Instagram or YouTube and all that. Take care, my loves.